tiny city-state with a population of just about 5.8 million people, able to succeed in becoming one of the world's richest countries and beacon of stability in the region. Today in this video, we are going to explore and talk about what lies behind Singapore's economic success. On the tip of Malaysian Peninsula lies a string of islands that sit on the crossroads of one of the world's most economic choke points, through which more than 750 billion worth of trade passes every single year. However, as astounding as this tropical wonderland may seem, it is also a dangerous place. To the north looms oil-rich Malaysia. To the south, a demographic behemoth of Indonesia. And even further north lies the great dragon of People's Republic of China. Amidst this blessed location, yet so many powers intersect, is Singapore. How was this tiny state with population of just 5.8 million people able to succeed in becoming one of the world's wealthiest and a beacon of stability in the region? Before moving forward, please do consider subscribing to this channel if the subjects of business, management and economy are of interest to you. In order to understand the path that led to Singapore's success, we first have to go back to its foundation. Its strategic geographic position for trade made it ideal for British to found a colony in the year 1819. However, the location is not the sole reason behind the success. After all, many other countries such as Thailand or Indonesia also benefit from this kind of location. Yet, they could not follow such a successful path. The fact that Singapore belonged to the British Empire contributed to developing it into a very important hub for connections between colonies of Far East and Europe. Nonetheless, when this country became independent from Malaysia in the year 1965, it was considered to be far behind from the so-called industrialized world. By the way, when did Britishers leave Singapore? Do let me know in the comments. Much of Singapore's success is owed to one man, Lee Kuan Yew, a British educated from Singaporean Chinese community. This is because he ruled somewhat like authoritarian style, but largely assured its citizens' rights and liberties. Moreover, he was the mastermind behind Singapore's strategy to foment foreign direct investments into Singapore and open its economy to the globalization. A very innovative idea indeed for its time. Adding to the influx of foreign capital was a heavy involvement of a large state into its economy. In the early days, Singapore had been plagued by chronic housing shortage and lack of access to education, leading the state to prioritize housing and investing in good schooling and education system. This led Singapore to become a very attractive place for the investors, as it was largely seen to possess a more orderly society compared with its neighbors. This was the key to Singapore's success. Strong institutions that provided for the assurance of the rule of law. These institutions give investors the confidence to make long-term investments in the country, since they do not need to worry about sudden regime change or an oppressive or corrupt elite. All these factors combined provided a great stability, and this started paying off sooner than later. By the way, I hope you would have subscribed to the channel by now. Your click to subscribe is free of cost to you, but motivates us to keep making better videos for you in future. By late 1970s and early 80s, Singapore became a manufacturing giant of Southeast Asia, becoming one of the first countries to become industrialized. In Singapore's case, this manufacturing boom was characterized by shipyard industry that created synergies with its important trade port and electronics manufacturing. Singapore was once the largest producer of hard disk drives. However, with the increased competition from its neighboring countries in terms of labor costs, in the 90s largely caused this sector's downfall, which meant Singapore was forced to change its economic backbone, an effort in which arguably this country was even more successful, since its rule of law, with the addition of tax and regulatory incentives, made it ideal for establishment of financial services. Big banks, consultancy firms, insurance companies swiftly moved to this city, which quickly became a hub of services industry capable of supplying to the whole surrounding region. Singapore is now mainly driven by its services sector due to consistently being ranked as one of the easiest countries to do business in and having a highly qualified workforce, a product of its robust education system and institutions. Meanwhile, what percentage of country's population is of Indian descent? Do let me know your views in the comments. It can even be argued that Singapore now is making an attempt to becoming an Asian Switzerland, as it has implemented the policies that has improved and increased the bank account secrecy, a move that could mean another influx of money and capital into this city-state. All these economic strategies have made Singapore one of the richest states, averaging a GDP per capita of over $88,000. Nonetheless, it is still somewhat an unequal country as well, ranking behind the countries such as UK and Japan in Gini Index, but still still in a better position than US. The city is also one of the most expensive places to own a car because of government quotas and taxes that aim to reduce traffic in the city, resulting in lower CO2 and congestion, while simultaneously incentivizing the public transport. In conclusion, Singapore is a country which has managed to overcome a very difficult neighborhood surrounded by hostile neighbors and lack of important natural resources. It is an example of a country which has successfully able to manage its strength in order to successfully maximize its economic potential. It was also based on an orderly society that became a beacon of stability in the region. This order of rule and law was only possible due to a strong government headed by a highly able and qualified individual. A simple fact that it had a small population concentrated on a tiny piece of land made it highly manageable. I hope you have subscribed to the channel and do share your views in the comments. My mail ID is also mentioned in the description. You may feel free to write to me. Be inspired, keep building.